In Japan's inland sea, the island of Nagashima had everything to be a little slice of paradise. Yet the government turned it into a living hell for thousands of patients like Shinji. He was 14 when he arrived at this port in 1948, escorted by a doctor.
As I arrived here, I was still a child and knew nothing. So at first, I was rather calm. But once I got here, everyone told me I would never be able to go home again.
Shinji had contracted leprosy a year earlier, when his family sent him here. At the time, he knew nothing about the disease that was about to disfigure his face and body by attacking his nerves. Once they arrived, suspected patients were locked inside this building for a week to undergo examinations.
Back then, they first carried out disinfection here because people sometimes arrived with lice, fleas, or skin diseases. No one was happy. Everyone was crying. Even the nurses wore rubber boots and masks made of several protective layers.
Like Shinji, some 5,000 children and adults were torn away from their families and sent to this island. This confinement policy was enforced throughout Japan by a law that was introduced in 1931. It was in that same year that Nagashima Island welcomed its first patients. Their belongings were confiscated for fear they were also contaminated.
Here, you can see what are called internal circulation notes, a special currency that could only be used on the island. The main purpose was to prevent escapes. Even if someone managed to flee, without regular money, they wouldn't be able to take a train or buy food.
17 years later, real currency was introduced because some patients were temporarily allowed to leave the island. In 1948, a new treatment made it possible to cure leprosy, meaning some people could head to other parts of Japan. But that joy was short-lived, because for these disfigured survivors, reunions with loved ones often turned tragic.
When a leprosy patient was identified in a household, the entire family was subjected to discrimination. It then became extremely difficult to accept that person's return.
Rejected by their families, cured patients were also legally forced to remain on the island. So they built their own society there, constructing roads and schools. They also created their own jobs, and Shinji became a farmer.
This is a photo from when I used to play baseball.
Shinji is now 91. He has spent 77 years of his life here on the island. He experienced loneliness, but also laughter and love. His wife, who has since passed away, was also a patient. Like thousands of others with leprosy, they were forced to undergo sterilization. In 2024, this abusive practice was ruled unconstitutional by Japan's Supreme Court, ordering the state to pay up to 80,000 euros in compensation to each victim.
It's hard to put into words, but I felt as though I was no longer really a man.
With no children, Shinji cannot even rely on nephews or nieces. His family never fully believed that he had recovered. Proof of this came during his final phone call with his mother, when he wanted to visit her in hospital.
She asked me, "Has your face gone back to normal? Have your hands healed?" I kept telling her that what remained were only after effects. She said, "No, in that case, there's no need to come. People must not find out."
In 1996, nearly 50 years after the treatments appeared, and after long legal battles, Japan finally allowed all leprosy patients to leave the country's sanatoriums. It was a victory that came too late. Shinji was already 61, unable to imagine a future beyond the island. Nagashima still belongs to the state, and only former patients and a handful of civil servants are allowed to live there. On the island, the needs of former leprosy patients are covered by the government. A brand new hospital has even been built, with more doctors than patients. Shinji goes there several times a week. His disease is no longer contagious, but doctors continue to monitor the long-term after effects.
We simply need to watch out for damaged nerves, which makes wounds more prone to infection. Other than that, we can say that leprosy has now become an almost ordinary issue.
More than half of the island's 5,000 patients died there. For many, the cause was old age or other illnesses rather than leprosy itself. Today, only 66 people like Shinji remain, resigned to spending the rest of their lives on the island.